owning the Libs has never felt this good, and owning the Libs, of course, being Elon, literally owning the Libs, as in he bought their platform and now owns them, like his master. Anyway, so I thought I'd mention first, we'll do a little bit of shilling, of course, which is the first one here being the book club. So this is Mark Sidwell's The Long March Through the Institutions, which I did with Carl, which is a nice book club and also gives us an example of how you will see some of those people who have done those long marches through, example, the tech institutions and taken them over. Twitter being a perfect example of that, of course. But I thought we'd just go through what the owner of the Libs has been up to, because I just think it's glorious and funny and never ends. When we go to the next one, we can see, firstly, Brianna Wu, who you may remember from the past as well, who is very salty and still crying about all of this, because she's decided to come out and say, I never talked about it before, but in the aftermath of Gamergate, I worked extensively with Twitter trust and safety to improve Twitter's policies. No, I remember you doing this, so you have talked about it before, or at least it was publicly known before, so that's not private. But also, she worked with Twitter's trust and safety team. I remember when the trust and safety team got launched, and everyone laughed at it, because it was obviously just going to be used for left-wing censorship, and now we have direct evidence.
Well, yeah, I wasn't really paying attention during Gamergate. I was too busy playing guitar every day. So what was Brianna Wu's involvement in Gamergate?
I believe she's the one who totally didn't sleep with 5 guys that reviewed her crappy game Depression Quest.
Well, no, that's Zoe Quinn.
Oh, that's Zoe Quinn.
I know enough about Gamergate to know about Zoe Quinn.
Mixed them all up because they all come off the same, don't they?
I mean, they're all a bunch of screeching feminists.
Weird hair grifters. So, yeah, they all end up being the same. I can't remember exactly what Brianna Wu did now, because it's all
probably just
a long time ago.
screeching along with all of the others.
But I remember her going with Anita Sarkeesian and giving her evidence to the UN, about the fact that, it's so horrible being a woman. And it was like, right, okay, which is why you get a platform and hundreds of thousands of dollars.
That's why you got to speak to the UN.
Yeah. But anyway, obvious nonsense. But there we have direct evidence of leftist influence over the trust and safety team. If we move forward, we can see a version of what we imagine Elon Musk holding a press conference going to be like. So we have, in a press conference, Elon Musk was quoted as saying, quote, Twitter is now a hunting ground for trans LGBTQA plus women and minorities. When asked to elaborate by a trans journalist, he began salivating and said, run. Or at least this is what I imagine Brianna Wu thinks Elon Musk is like, because, well, this has been their response.
It would be some pretty great meme magic, wouldn't it?
But no, of course, this is not reality. Instead, what has he been up to? Well, he's been having fun. So if we go to the next one, we can see some of that fun. Here's him saying, next I'll be buying Coca-Cola and put the cocaine back in. I don't think Coke took this very well. I'm talking about, like, please don't do that. If we go to the next one, we can also see him mentioning there was a fake tweet here saying, now I'm going to buy McDonald's and fix all the ice cream machines. And Elon responds, listen, I can't do miracles, okay? Can't be done. Although apparently, I remember Johnny Harris looked into why the ice cream machines are always broke. They're not really. Like, it's the company that provides the ice cream machines is just fleecing McDonald's. Like, owners, franchise owners. But the corporate side doesn't really care because they're not losing anything out of it. So then the relationship goes on. They have these crappy machines that don't work. There's no reason for it. It's just because we use them.
This just sounds like a bad business deal. McDonald's, sort yourselves out, lads. Yeah. Come on.
Go and look up the McDonald's ice cream machines if you want to find out the root of all that, which is just McDonald's is screwing everyone over. But Elon Musk can't even fix that mess. If we go to the next one, we also have the fact that he has some anti-agenda memes here. So, of course, you may remember Tim Pool talking to, Miss Lawyer. I don't remember her name. Who cares?
I think it's Vijaya.
Vagina. So Vagina over there was saying that we don't have any bias in our corporation whatsoever. And Tim Pool would be like, well, okay, misgendering, that's a policy in which you have bias. She was like, well, I'd have to see a context of that. And he says, okay, here's the context of an example. And he says, well, I don't know. I'd have to take it into consideration. And I don't think we have a bias. And it just went round in circles.
I watched it. It was entertaining 3 hours, but also very frustrating 3 hours.
Certainly was. But it's amazing to see that the new owner, of course, recognizes this incident and also was watching, presumably at the time, and is now openly just saying, Miss Vagina, we're coming for you. We're going to get you out of the office because you were a terrible individual and one of the worst actors within Twitter. If we continue, we can also see the fact that Elon also posted more memes about the left going insane. I mean, I kind of love it. Like, all of these little memes here.
These are the sorts of memes that normal people, not normies, just normal people, have been posting for years now. So it's good to see that he is on just the side of sanity.
Like, back to the Sarkeesian days.
I know, right?
Kind of memes. It's just like, hey, did you notice how the left seemed to be running off a cliff and everyone who used to be on the left is now on the right somehow?
It is very interesting that there is a contingent of people who have been responding to this particular meme by going, but don't you understand that the right's been going more and more right as well? It's like, no, they're not. most of the establishment right has just continuously been going, well, if you're going left, might as well.
Yes.
I'll keep up pace, guys. Don't worry.
Control the speed limit, demonstrably so in policy as well. Although one of those people that is very upset about this is Jeff Bezos, or at least his outlet, decided to fact check the meme.
Oh, this must be what I was talking about then.
What are you doing with your life when you're fact checking a meme? Because, well, the meme embarrasses you, presumably, so you're like, well, quickly need to shut that down. And they try and shut it down in their article here. What Elon Musk's polarization graph gets wrong. Graph. I love how it's a graph now. It's a crappy meme that he posted on the toilet.
I don't think anybody's like done any empirical research into the meme. It's just the general feeling that people have.
Jeff Bezos was very upset and did some empirical research into the meme. He wanted to get to the bottom of this meme.
Jeff Bezos provides the ultimate actually.
Yes, literally. If we go to the next one, we can see the ultimate actually here. And they provide this graph, or at least this is their evidence they use to say that no, the Republicans have actually gone more right. Democrats haven't moved at all. Nothing's happened.
I don't believe this in the slightest.
No, it's an obvious bull. But if we go to the next one, we can see, of course, I imagine most writers would respond with the graph that Tim Pool loves to share, just showing that the left has spread out and become more left in general, whereas the right has become slightly more right, but not really considerably over time. This is, I think this was Pew as well, but it's mentioned in The Economist.
I'd be careful, Tim. Those look awfully close to bell curves right there. You don't want to get cancelled.
But that's the thing. It's just like, okay, you can provide your graphs, but just the reality on the ground we all know as well. Like, we can all look at the policy changes, and you can verifiably notice those things. Such if we go to the next link, Vox.com, a far-right outlet, presumably, because they throw the left under the bus in this article that we read the other day. But it's the point in here, they say, as recently as 2006, 64 House Democrats and 26 in the Senate voted for the Secure Fence Act, which built some 700 miles of fence, basically a wall by another name, along the 2,000-mile southern border. That included then Senator Joe Biden, Hillary Clinton, Barack Obama, and Chuck Schumer.
I thought Hillary was campaigning against this kind of action back in 2016.
It's ridiculous, isn't it? You know, it's demonstrably the case that the Dems have changed. They used to believe in borders and now believe in open borders.
They even believed in one point in the 90s in balancing the budget, if you can believe that one.
I know, right?
And they were actually successful at it, shockingly enough.
Like, we have tangible policies you can point to where the left has shifted massively. You cannot do this with the right in the same respect.
I covered somebody who back in the day in the 1990s was fired by the Clinton administration by recommending, hey, why don't we teach kids how to masturbate in school?
Clinton was like, get out.
Yes, even Clinton back in the day was like, get out. And now Biden's like, oh, let him tell them about my hairy legs.
My next VP.
Oh, God.
Creepy weirdos. If we go to the next one, we also have the news, of course, of Trump Social. And Elon decided to, well, I don't know what this is, if a dunk or a flirt, I don't even know. He decided to say it should be called Trumpet instead. Kind of jokingly, but then a lot of people just made memes redoing it as a trumpet image. And quite frankly, I kind of like the name. I'll be frank, because this is, of course, Donald Trump's social media that he set up to obviously get away from Twitter because it was run by, well, demons. And Elon Musk has now taken it over, so don't know how that relationship's turning out. I do wonder, they should probably just meet up and have drinks. Probably smooth things over. Because as Trump says, he's one of our geniuses. We've got to take care of our geniuses.
I think, honestly, I don't think that Elon and Trump would probably disagree on that much.
No. I can't imagine either.
Yeah.
If we go to the next one, we can also see the fact that the Saudi Arabians have now joined the chat. Saudi Arabian Burger King decided to put out this meme. Elon Musk, I love Burger King. Dave Smith, you should buy Whopper. How much is it? As well. So, of course, this has become an international meme in response, which I kind of love. I'm not going to lie. I do enjoy all this. They also, if we go to the next one, though, we have some insider news from Andy No as well here. He published an article, and the most interesting bit in here, it's about all of them whining on the inside. Because Andy decided to, when the takeover was taking place, he went and got their internal messages and then just published them. Because he was like, look at them all crying. Isn't this funny? And everyone was like, yeah, it is Andy. Good work.
Yeah, good job, Andy.
And then more internal messages have been leaked, this time to Andy. And it's them whining about Andy this time, in which, as you can see, sometimes I think it can't be as bad as I'm imagining it will be. Then I see something like this, and I'm all, nope, it'll be even worse. How is this no effer verified as well?
Jesus Christ. I mean, obvious partisan hacks working within the company, as if that wasn't obvious enough. But good job, Andy. Meme them until they cry.
And they did.
And then make memes of them crying.
So they were crying him, and he just didn't care, of course. They apparently had a conversation about trying to censor Andy and then realized he hadn't broken any rules, so they couldn't even do anything there. While
How can we not censor this investigative journalist?
That's the kind of conversations that go on there, so wouldn't be surprised. If we go to the next one, we can see more insider whining, and again, beautiful. So I thought we'd enjoy. Well, click on the first image there if you can. Please, Michael, we can load this up. And we have some guy responding to Elon Musk making a reasonable point. And, of course, he responds with about the censorship of the Hunter Biden laptop story. That's not what happened. Twitter had a policy about hacked documents. We applied this policy equally. The merits of that policy are debatable, but it wasn't targeted censorship. Who believes them?
That's obvious rubbish.
Yeah, I mean, number one, wasn't hacked. Like, the dude literally left his laptop at a guy's repair shop. And he was like, okay, we'll load that up. Yeah, this has got a lot of messed up stuff on it. Yeah, there's a big... I love the idea that hacking is going from there to there. Like, you've hacked the system by opening the laptop.
Well, I mean, to boomers, perhaps this is their idea of it. I mean, we've all seen 90s hacking movies.
But this is a guy who works at Twitter. I mean, if you go to the next image there, and we can see himself, engineer at Twitter. They. Don't know what...
And he's got a mullet.
What is they? Like, either you're a man or you're saying you're not a man or a woman, right? Like the non-binary thing.
I think it.
It's fine. He's going for the inanimate object look. Fine.
All right, okay, fair play.
If we go to the next one, what did he do in response to this being found out? That he responded and tried to cover up the... He's gone. He deleted his account. Yeah. Because, well, guess what? If you openly try and lie about things, people can call you out on it. And if you do it to your new boss... I don't think he's going to be best too pleased.
Well, now there's going to be an entire section of the US government administering people like this, although I don't think they'd be going against people like Connor.
No.
Somehow.
They'll be giving Connor bonuses. If we go to the next one, we can also see him and a lot of others are also leaving Twitter. And as you can see from The Independent, Twitter says mass deactivations after Musk deal are largely organic. Meh. Weird headline.
Well, I think the point is that they're trying to say, like, all these people leaving Twitter are just doing it of their own accord. And it's like, good.
Yeah.
Yes. But these are the people that we hate.
This is the sort of like the contention between those two interpretations of all these people leaving. It certainly is true that a lot of accounts are disappearing and a lot of people on the left are losing followers. And a lot of accounts are appearing and a lot of people are gaining followers on the right. And the question is whether or not this is because Twitter's code has been changed, burnt for the new boss, so they don't find the originals. And
I wouldn't be surprised if that has something to do with it.
Maybe, but there's no evidence so far of it. Whereas there is evidence, of course, of a massive user behavior shift, which is loads of leftists going, "I'm leaving. I'm going to Canada."
Yep.
They'll be back in a week.
I'll never come back.
Going back to Tumblr.
Good riddance. Stay there.
There was a guy who followed around the Prime Minister once with a guitar singing F off back to Eton. And I've just got that, but F off back to Tumblr in my head. Anyway, if you scroll down on this, there's a quote from Twitter who say, "While we continue to take action on accounts that violate our spam policy, which can affect follow accounts, these fluctuations are largely appear to largely be the result of an increase in new account creation and deactivation," said Twitter. Talking about the fact that they're going to look into the fluctuations. If we go to the next one as well, apparently the number of people who have turned up is huge. As you can see with Tim Paul mentioning here, up 100k since Tuesday, but not Monday. For some reason, no one came back to Twitter the day Elon brought it. No, they waited until the next day. All of them did, he says here. Giving the idea that maybe it's to do with suppression rather than the change in user behavior. The thing is, though, like we all made our videos, like all of the non-progressives talked about this on Tuesday. Like our video in which we first talked about the fact that, okay, well, this has changed instantly, was on Tuesday as well. So I'm reckoning that, no, I think it really is just user behavior still until the evidence is presented, in which case, of course, go with the evidence.
I think people see someone like Elon say, "Oh, I've bought Twitter," and they go, "Okay, Twitter's going to be a place that's going to be hospitable to me now."
Yeah. Not that I don't understand the suspicion of these people. I mean, they literally lied to Tim Paul's face in front of him. I mean, Vagina over there. It was like, oh yeah, we just ban people for saying the wrong words, but don't worry, we take context into account.
Her name is also, full name I think is Vijaya Gab. So if you go with the vagina, it sounds almost like the what Trump tried to get cancelled for.
Well, keep that in mind. We go to the next one as well. Apparently, daily users has increased 229 million. That's a lot of daily users.
You know what? This sounds an awful lot like this was an excellent business move for Twitter.
Yeah. Sorry, that's the increase to that number there, I should say, with an increase of 14 million turning up there, which is great.
Yeah.
And also all the leftists leaving are apparently not even making a dent in the new numbers. So that's interesting. If we go to the next one as well, we can also see there is Elon Musk talking about the problems Twitter faces. It says, for Twitter to deserve public trust, it must be politically neutral, which effectively means upsetting the far right and the far left equally. This I'm a little bit worried about, because he did say previously his idea of free speech and how he envisions the platform is one that applies the law. That's it.
Yeah, I mean, the law as set out on paper can be quite malleable, sadly, and I preferred his previous statement of free speech absolutism.
Yeah, but he has the constraints of the law, so that's fine.
Obviously.
But his interpretation of saying, I will apply US law, and that's it, that would obviously include the far right and the far left being able to spout their nonsense, because that's free speech, protected under the Second Amendment. And de facto is. And the fact that he mentions here that they're going to be upset makes me worried. And if we go to the next one, of course, Gab are also worried about this. They're giving a Robert Conquest law on this. Any organization not explicitly right-wing sooner or later becomes left-wing. The simplest way to explain the behavior of any bureaucratic organization is to assume that it is controlled by a cabal of its enemies. That is the truth. Elon is stepping into a viper's den here, because it is currently, if not controlled, because he's in charge now, it's certainly staffed by people who despise him and hate him. I'm just a little bit worried that he may say, okay, no, we won't do this, we won't do that, and then it will slowly snowball again. So that's my slight worry. I haven't seen much evidence of that other than that tweet there, which makes me kind of sus. However, he may just be saying violent actors.
Yes,
well.
at the very least, Elon has a backbone, which is more than can be said for Dorsey.
Yeah, that's 100% true. And he doesn't have to worry about board of directors no more.
No, he really doesn't.
Yeah, all those savings to be made. If we go to the next one, we also have Gab, who are saying they've been unverified on Twitter. I don't know what this is about, but strange. But this, I don't think, can be blamed on Elon in the slightest. I see some people trying to do that, because, as mentioned, he hasn't really formalized the deal even at this point. So all of the changes we are seeing is, again, the old regime trying to do their last bits, which is
panicking damage control.
Yeah, covering up some of their censorship, because their censorship usually is about direct censorship. So people not being verified even though they know who they are, and they know they are who they are. Or just saying that this account cannot be able to spread this message, or just ban people outright, because they have no shame. I don't even think they think much about shadow banning these days. They just ban instead. So I think this is, again, the actions of the dying regime there. If we move forward, we can also see the fact that the media is going mad. We have Bloomberg here going with, Elon Musk's Twitter is a scary space for many black users. It's a spooky, scary platform.
We've taken consensus from all of the black users, and they say, "Oh, I'm spooked and scared right now."
I spoke to the king of the blacks, and he was very spooked.
Peter Griffin was terrified. Sean King had many bad things to say.
White Father Christmas. Anyway, the author writes, "Hey, it's Kelsey Butler, a Bloomberg equity reporter." And it's like, okay, right. So please,
equality reporter.
Quality reporter. Please be patient. She has autism, is what I'm hearing there, though.
Yes.
Let me give you a sense of what it's like to be a black woman on Twitter. One day, I opened my DMs to a one-word message saying Niger. The person...
Okay. Do you know what you can do? You can just go, oh, okay, and just close it.
You could block them.
Yep.
That person didn't mean the West African country, but a racial slur. What gave it away? So there's also the obvious point of just like, why does someone do that? To get a rise out of you as well. You'll notice how we don't have this for other races who have racial slurs against them that we care about.
I mean,
White people don't have
the funny thing is, like you say, they do it to get a rise out of them. Job succeeded. I mean, you got an entire article.
I mean, you got an article out of them, isn't it?
Yeah, it's amazing.
Anyway, so there's that. And then she continues, that kind of experience isn't uncommon. 1 in 10 tweets mentioning black women is abusive and problematic, compared to 1 in 15 for white women, according to an Amnesty International analysis of 1 million tweets. Firstly, don't care what the leftists say, so don't even trust them. But also, now list it for Pakistanis. I'd love to see the results of how much of that is.
If you want to know what a joke Amnesty International is, just think that they are wasting time and money tracking down all tweets about black women and seeing if they're nasty or not.
They also refused to Count Dankula at the time. I don't know if you remember.
Oh,
that.
yeah.
He was
I
like,
remember that.
hey, human rights organization, maybe I shouldn't go to prison for a joke. And they were like, there was a joke.
Yeah, that was a pretty spicy joke, though, Count.
Yeah. Screw Amnesty International. Musk has said he'd prioritize free speech, to be very reluctant to delete things, and tread lightly with permanent bans. Timeouts, I think, are better, he said. The obvious human solution to, content moderation. People like weird name, author of So You Want to Talk About Race, have already deactivated their accounts. Allahu Akbar.
No. Oh, no. What
Fantastic.
Are we gonna do?
Nearly half of the accounts that sent direct misogynistic abuse to high-profile women like Kamala Harris and Lizzo went on to reoffend, according to the Center for Countering Digital Hate. Of the comments, 49% targeted women of color and 41% included the B word, which also... I'm reminded of the fact that apparently half of all abuse that women get online is from other women.
Well, is that a surprise?
49% of those went on to reoffend, and I'm thinking...
I
feel like the women are going on to reoffend.
Yeah, I do like the use of the word reoffend here because it is just, that's language you use for criminals.
Yeah.
So you're treating them as criminals just for being mean online.
Called Amber Heard a B word. Yeah, I think I'll get with it.
Deserved. I think I'll live.
Yeah. She then goes on to say, black and other marginalized users deserve much better online. I was like, no, you don't. You deserve exactly the same as everyone else. You would have thought, but no, we are an aristocracy, or at least that's how they have been treated. That's what I love about this article. They're like, well, now this is a horrible place for marginalized groups. Marginalized being the protected characteristics, and they are very protected, as you see in British law. Never mind the fact in just the way that these companies operate, which is that you can openly say kill all white men. That's fine.
And that was a hashtag a few years ago.
It was completely fine with Twitter. It was a crime in the UK. The police actually investigated the lady, but then immediately dropped it because, of course. Whereas if you did the opposite, you would get a prison sentence, frankly. So it goes on. Academic researchers have called African American users hashtag Black Twitter some of the most influential on the app, using hashtag Black Lives Matter and hashtag I Can't Breathe as rallying cries against police violence and hashtag Black Girl Magic and hashtag Black Boy Joy as a forum for celebration.
What on earth is Black Boy Joy? I don't know if I want to know, actually.
But anyway... There's saying, the black users of Twitter, the black American users, have been the most influential and the most important users, and therefore should be treated specially, presumably. And, how did that all work out? What did you guys achieve? That's all you achieved. You achieved these three, getting lots of money and lots of mansions. That's what your movements did. Good job. Really helped out the black community. Just keeping it in mind. Also, just the idea that what is the app doing for us, she seems to mention. It's like, giving you a platform, nothing else. You deserve nothing else. If you go to the next one, we can also see the fact that apparently loads of leftists have been sending death threats to Elon Musk because, movement of peace on the march, once again. And if you go to the next one as well, there's also them whining about the fact that some people have been blocked by him. They're like, well, what about free speech? It's like, hang on. You know what the block button is, right? Like, you can still post on the platform. You're not banned from the platform. You're not Carl Benjamin. You're not Alex Jones. So on and so forth. You can do what you want. But this dude doesn't have to listen to you.
If I can't send death threats directly to Elon,
then
he's a hypocrite.
Complete hypocrite.
Also, the left complaining about hypocrisy.
I love it, because they are appealing to free speech. Why? Because they held this as a value? Of course not. Absolutely not. They're saying, this is a value you guys hold, so please grant it to us. And it's like, no.
This is just clear that they don't understand what the value even means.
Yeah, I also know that Carl made the point. This is obviously just reply guying. I don't know if you know what that is.
Yeah, I know reply guying.
There'll be an account that's got loads of followers, and these guys will always reply in there, trying to dunk on the big account.
Because they know it gets them better reach than they would just posting into the ether.
So that's what they're mad about. The journos won't be able to try and get artificial boosts there. So too bad. Go to hell. Now, this isn't the worst take I've seen. I've like, what about my free speech here? We go to the next one. We have Chunky Boy, who decided to go with are right-wingers really unaware of the irony of saying that they are champions of free speech and then celebrating a law called Don't Say Gay? The law they cheer on the most is literally the most against free speech. Irony wept for there are no more words left to conquer. And I love the idea that he's like, if I can't talk to a 3-year-old about sex, I'm not a free man, says Cenk Uygur, Young Turks.
I mean, if the people going against the bill are watching the Young Turks, I'm not surprised that they all show such a consistent level of retardation.
Yeah, but also my concept of free speech is if I can't talk about my horse fetish 3-year-old, says Cenk, then I'm not a free man.
I mean, have you seen that clip of him trying to go like, well, if I was in charge, I would legalize bestiality.
That's what I'm referencing.
Yep.
Oh. So anyway, there's the salt that is flowing endlessly from the fact that the Libs have been finally owned. Completely. And they are owned by King Elon himself.
On paper.
If you appreciated that segment from the podcast of the Lotus Eaters, you can go to lotuseaters.com to get access to all the premium content we have on the site, such as this premium video, The Politics of the Northern Lights, The Golden Compass, from John Wheatley. And if you want to find out what else John Wheatley's putting out, you can follow him on Getter at @John Wheatley on Getter. Thank you and goodbye.